Hi, I'm Rhonda Sternhagen, and this is a tutorial about woven pouches. But before we get started, let's go over some weaving vocabulary. First of all, we need to know that a loom is a frame on which weaving is completed. Warp are the vertical threads on which the weaving will be done. Weft are the horizontal threads that are woven across the warp threads. A beater is a stick, fork, or comb used to tightly pack the weft threads. And to beat in means pushing a new row of weft tightly against the previous row. Okay, today we're going to make or start to make a pouch that can either hold an iPod or a cell phone or an MP3 player or whatever you'd like. This pouch was made for the cell phone I had prior to this one, so this one doesn't quite fit in as well as the old one did, but you can see just about how it's going to work out. So this is actually a finished product of what we're going to work on today. First thing you need to do is you need to kind of take some measurements off of your cell phone or iPod, and you want to cut some corrugated cardboard so that it's about a ½ inch larger all the way around the cell phone or iPod. And when you're cutting your corrugated cardboard is the cardboard that has the little zigzags through the middle of it. You want to make sure that the corrugation runs horizontally and not vertically, because when we are constructing our loom, we're going to be sticking pins down through here, and those corrugation lines running horizontally are going to help to hold the pins in firmly. So after I've gotten my first piece of cardboard cut, if I want to have my pouch have a lid on it, or a flap on it to to close it, this is what I'm going to need to do, is to cut a second piece of corrugated cardboard, again with the corrugation running horizontally, so that it is the same width as the first piece, but a couple of inches longer, so that will make the flap when we're finished. So the first thing you need to do to get your loom set up is you need to take some masking tape, and this is 1 inch wide masking tape, and you need to cover the edges of the cardboard with the masking tape. What this is going to do is it's going to make it so that these are more smooth edges, and so when you're weaving, your yarn will not get caught on the edges. So you're going to go ahead and do this to both pieces. Okay, now that we have all 4 sides of both pieces of the corrugated cardboard taped with the masking tape over the edge and to the other side, what we're going to do is we're actually finished with the masking tape, so you can go ahead and put that material away. And we're going to rubber cement our 2 pieces together. And I have found that when rubber cementing, we're going to use what's called the rubber cement dry mount. And we're going to put rubber cement actually on the 2 surfaces that we're going to hook together, which is this side being hooked to this piece of cardboard. So I'm just going to make a mark across there so I know how high I need to apply my rubber cement on this particular piece. And I'm going to be fairly generous with my rubber cement. And for those of you who have not used the rubber cement dry mount before, it's a fantastic technique to use in the classroom when you're wanting to make a secure bond between 2 materials. And so then I'm going to obviously coat the entire side of this second piece, or what will be the front piece when we hook our loom together. And now I'm going to just take a few minutes and I'm going to let both of those sides dry. Okay, now that both pieces are fairly dry, you want them to be really super dry if at all possible. I'm going to take the 2 sides that have had the rubber cement adhered to them, and I'm going to line them up, and I'm going to stick them together. And you want to make sure that you're getting it lined up right the first time, because it's kind of difficult. It's possible, but difficult to peel them apart. But now we've got this nice strong bond, which is going to keep our loom very, very stable. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark where we're going to put the pins that we're going to warp our loom with. And I like to always start out with obviously the edge of my ruler, my 0 mark, which on this ruler is in a little bit, and mark 1/8 of an inch. And then after that, just to make it easier on my brain, I like to slide my ruler over to put that 0 mark on that 1/8 of an inch mark. And then I'm going to mark every 1/4 of an inch. And again, I'm doing this right at the edge of my cardboard piece on the masking tape. And then this one I'm going to just kind of fudge in a little place for that last pin there. Then I'm going to do the same thing across the top piece. Again, make an 1/8 inch mark first. I'm going to slide my 0 point of my ruler over, and then I'm going to make a mark every 1/4 inch all the way across. And again, it looks like now that one is falling pretty close to, if we look at it, at 1/8 of an inch. So that should work out just fine. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some straight pins, and we're just going to stick straight down onto the top. And you can feel it going through those layers of corrugation and making our pins very sturdy. And you're going to go ahead and just put pins on top of each of those marks. Now, after each time we do this project, we actually do recycle the pins, because we'll remove the pins when we're finished, and I just keep it extra pins like that loose in a well, this is actually a butter tub container that my mom will save for me, and we use those kind of recycling materials in the art room. But today, to keep things under control a little bit more, I'm using brand new pins that are stuck in those fancy little containers that you get when they're brand new. So just thought maybe that would be a little more manageable for today. Okay, now I'm finishing putting pins across that midsection, which is going to be the top of our pouch itself. And it's a little trickier to put the pins in here, but definitely not impossible. You just have to kind of be a little more, you have to work a little more slowly. But once you have the pins across the top of both of your cardboard pieces, then to make this work out, we have to have an odd number of warp threads to work with. So I want you to put a pin in the longer or the back piece of cardboard, kind of angled in, and I want you to put that even with the top of the front piece. And I want you to do that on both sides. And again, that angling in is going to help us to get it stuck into the corrugation. Then also we need to put a pin in the bottom of both pieces and leave them sticking out about 1/4 of an inch, just like we've done the other ones. And these are going to serve as guidelines and also as a place to tie one end of our warp thread to get started. So this is where we are going to stop with the pins. We're finished with those now, and we've got that already set up. Now we're ready to actually start